'cause I know that this is right. Don't be shy, just get to know me. We can take this somewhere else. You and me can find ourselves. Stop pretending we are lonely. I can't call your bluff, 'cause I know that this is love. Can't pretend that you don't feel it. Be that thing that you missed. I know you can't resist. Let me make your life easy. I wanna be your company. I wanna be your company. I wanna be your company. Think of the things we do. If it was only me and you.
All right. How is everyone doing here? This is your boy Nerdanderthal coming here with a little bit of an update. Looks like we got a post on the forums about the new Galactic Legends structure, how it's going to be enrolling. We've seen a lot of videos on that already, so I'm not going to go ahead and press that too much. The big thing that I want to jump into is down here, which will be the images, which most people won't understand. Luckily, I'm a character artist for a video game company, so I'll be able to go into a little bit of a deeper dive on what this actually means, because to the average person that doesn't show much. What they should do is show a textured or colored image of the difference between the Scavenger Ray, Ray Jedi Training, and then Galactic Legends Ray, so you can see the end product better. This doesn't show much. I will explain to you what it actually means. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and up here in this top right corner, it's a little bit of a messy image, but I'm going to go ahead and play some Galactic War with First Order, let them run their way through. I'll read off this, let you know what's going on with the update, and then as soon as we get down to the actual art portion of it, I'll show you a picture of an image of a current project that I'm working on. And I'll show you what it means about all these weird angles and lines and what it actually does and how that end product actually looks and what the significance of having something that looks like this compared to something that looks like this. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so whatever, this is not a very good update event. This should be telling us where we're going. It's not telling us if we're getting new characters. It's basically just a little Galactic Legends update. I don't think it needed to be their update forum thing going on here, but we'll see what's going. All right, so they like to share a little bit about the Galactic Legends event structure. They'll continue to refine and design this, but the first thing they want to talk about is there's going to be a new kind of ticket. And this ticket that they say, which is highlighted right here, will be earned via existing game modes. So basically, once you have the characters needed to unlock Galactic Legends Ray or Galactic Legends Kylo Ren, once you have all those characters that you need, you're basically allowed to earn these tickets, and these tickets will become available to you, and it sounds like you're going to have to almost farm tickets. So you have not only do you have to get the characters to Relic 7 and 5 thus far for the First Order, or 7, 5, and 3 for the Resistance, but you're also going to unlock the ability to get these single raid tickets, and you're going to have to get those raid tickets as well. So it sounds like another layer into this multiple event. So it sounds like this is going to be extremely whale heavy, extremely crazy. So I don't know really how I feel about that as a free-to-play player. I know I'm not going to get them the first time, so it doesn't bother me too much. I'm not going to see them in Grand Arena. I'm not going to see them in Arena in the 50 and above slot. I'm just really not going to see too much of these characters, so it's not going to bother me too much. It's just going to be more of a grind. The longer I go, the longer we go. So, the next thing down here that this talks about is they want to talk about the clash between the light and the dark side, which talks about they're going to be releasing these Galactic Legends in pairs, which is really interesting because obviously you have Rey and Kylo Ren and you have light and dark side, so that kind of is a mirror imagery throughout all of the movies, and at least in terms of their trilogies. So in the first trilogy, you had like Luke and Darth Vader. In this, in the initial trilogy, it was Luke and Darth Vader. In the prequel trilogy, it was like Anakin. Oh, there's a little bit harder in that one, but you have light and dark side. You got like Anakin going from light to dark side. You got Obi-Wan Kenobi, light side, Emperor Palpatine, the dark side. So you kind of get your balance there. And a new one, obviously, Rey and Kylo. So you kind of get that. So it's kind of cool that they'll be releasing these Galactic Legends in pairs, so people can choose between the light and the dark side, depending on what you side with, instead of having to farm only the meta teams. So for myself, I prefer dark side. I love Emperor Palpatine, love the Empire. Hail the Empire, right? You basically have to choose that. Like the new General Skywalker, there's pretty good meta diversity right now, but General Skywalker and the clones is meta right now. Not the highest meta. It's not to the point of Darth Revan or Jedi Knight Revan, which was insane. But you have to farm each one of those sections. You have to really get in there. You know what I mean? You really got to dig in. And that's kind of annoying because you might not be a light side. You don't want to farm those. But at least we get an option now. So if they do decide to go to original trilogy, there's a good chance that we'll get like Jedi Knight Luke in the black, and we might get Darth Vader from that time or Emperor Palpatine from that time. That's cool that you get a choice. Like, do I go light side? Do I go dark side? And if they're in comparable powers, that'd be pretty awesome. So, pretty excited about that. Let me go ahead and get this on a sim. All right. So, that's what's going on there. Nothing too crazy. Turn that desktop audio down a little bit for y'all. Looking pretty loud. All right. Now when we get down to here, and what I really want to bring to our attention here is this stuff going on right here. Actually, let's go ahead and close that down and bring this in. So when we're talking about this, and it says our artist gave us a wireframe look at progression of Rey's 3D model in our game, and the first appearance of Scavenger Rey through the Galactic Legends version. We hope this gives you an idea of how hard this artist has been working. For people who aren't in game design and don't really understand what the hell this means, let me talk to you a little bit about this. So the main thing to talk about is there's these little squares or triangles are called polygons, and these little points where everything meets are called vertex. And these vertexes are what store color, they're what store everything, and they're what project stuff back at us. So we can store color inside of these squares, and that's what gives you skin tone or eye color or facial hair if you see these little fringes out here. And you can store stuff that's transparent or just color, and you can bend. And it's weird to see that this really square block turns into actually something that's semi-smooth. And I'll explain how that actually works and what the difference is between a character like this and a character like this. So let me go ahead and let me bring this over here, and let me show you what I got going on right here. So this is a current character that I'm working on. Now this character, you can see I have a whole bunch of these squares. There are no triangles because this is a character for a game engine and not necessarily for a mobile game, which looks a lot more like this, which is they call it low poly or low polygon. So there's not a lot of polygons because there's not as much hardware in cell phones to make it look good. But in a computer or a PC, a Mac, or PS4, Xbox, Switch, whatever you got, they can handle many more polygons, which are these squares. So basically what you have, and I don't want to bore you with all of this stuff and getting into the technical details of it, but these things, as you can see, if you look really closely at the top, you can see that there's straight lines here. And on the ears, you can see especially there's straight lines. And that means it's not curved, it's very straight. It's like edges, sharp edges. And sharp edges are what you get in that low polygon thing. So what you need to be able to do is you have something called a normal map. And it's basically the camera tricking your eye. It's bending light. It's doing math between this point and this point, and it's finding a nice little curve based on a more dense version of this. So you have this version, which is low, and then you have a version that is high, which is extremely dense. And this is not very many polygons. This is probably a couple thousand polygons. And then you have one that is millions and millions of polygons, so it's completely smooth. It is basically like digital clay in a term. And what you do is you bake the curvature of that really, really high polygon mesh onto this low one. So it's kind of, I guess you could say it's kind of like sleeping in really cheap Walmart sheets, but you get the feel and the look of like really good Egyptian cotton sheets. So what you do is you go ahead and activate, and it's really hard to see in that, but you can kind of see a little bit in the eyes right here. As I click that on and off, you can see a little bit of that curvature. So if I turn that off and I activate the color in here, and you can see the color in her, and I go ahead and turn off this wireframe so you can't see it. So it just looks like skin. You can see all the hard points. Once I activate this normal map, it will curve out everything and kind of make it look a little better. So you can see right above the eyes and around the eyes, it's very flat, it's very not cool, and then you click it and you kind of see the definition come in a little bit more. So this is a little bit of what's going on. My model is much more high definition than this model is much more high definition than the model that I was talking about earlier. But that's basically what's happening here. So what this, and this means is they're doing a lot more projection. So there's no eye sockets. There's no mouth here. They're basically just outlining the major structures in this, and then they're projecting depth maps. So it's faking, instead of faking pores like I just showed you, it's faking entire eyes, entire lips that come off this flat surface. And in games this is normal, but as we know, like, it's not super good looking in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, that is, in comparison to like Raid Shadow Legends, because they're working off old software. They're not working in Unity or Unreal. They've talked about moving, but that's not the case. But the difference between this and this, as you can see, we have fully defined. Let me get in there a little bit more. There's fully defined lips, fully defined eyes, and a fully defined nose. And you can see there's a lot more squares instead of triangles, which means there's a lot smoother movement going over and under these cheeks. And you can see there's much more stuff here. So instead of just having the band here painted on and showing through like trickery of the eye and trickery of the light, we actually have it modeled in, which means it's going to look a lot better. So the difference between here, here, and here is great. And what we're going to get here is we're going to get a much better looking character just because there is more geometry to support. So if I had the same color map and the same normal, which is the smoothing map to make it look more realistic on this one, as the same on this one is going to look 4 or 5 times better. It's going to be a much better looking character just because there's more geometry, and that's just the nature of things. The more video games or video game consoles can support more geometry, the better it's going to look. So that's what this means, and I'm really upset that this is what they showed. Our artist gave us this wireframe to look at progression. People are going to look at this and they don't know what the hell this means, and it's really sad. What they should have done, and I know they don't want to spoil it because they don't want to spoil what the new Galactic Legend Ray looks like in terms of texture, but this doesn't show enough. But this is actually a big deal. So these new characters are going to be very good looking in comparison to the initial characters, or the characters we've had released, in terms of like your initial first 2 years versus your later 2 years versus these Galactic Legends. These are going to be much more in depth, much more detailed, much better. And this isn't animation. This is just color, texture, cloth fabric, face fabric, depth of the eyes, so they don't look wonky like Anakin Skywalker, if you know what I mean. So that's all I wanted to say. Just a little update for everyone, just so everyone can see what is going on. I just wanted to let y'all know if y'all have any questions on what's going on or this process. I have some models that would better demonstrate that, but I figured a face would be a better way to show what's going on rather than like a square or like a record player or like an object, an actual face. So it's interesting to see that what happens with when that normal goes away and when that normal comes in. You can just see the detail come in, and that's not color that's being put in. It's just depth. It's putting depth and smoothness into the character. So I wanted to clarify a little for everyone as a game character artist what is actually happening here, and I hope that helps clarify for other people what is actually going on. So with that, please, if you have questions, if you have comments, what do you feel about this new mini raid unlock? Like, you have to unlock all these super high characters, and then you have to go in and unlock tickets, and it's not fully clarified whether you just get one ticket and you get to fight, or you have to hit a threshold of tickets and you have to kind of go to the grind to get like 50 tickets doing these normal events, kind of like gear grinding. And I really hope it's not that, but if it is, like, what's your thoughts on it? What do you feel about that? If that's the case, let me know. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great night. This is your boy Nerdanderthal. Stay classy, y'all.
Let me be right by your side, cause I know that this is right. Don't be shy, just get to know me. We can take this somewhere else. You and me can find ourselves. Stop pretending we are alone.